What would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? Let's dream about it. Welcome to Silver's Perspective, the place where we ask ourselves empowering questions to get a wider perspective while thinking long term. I'm Silver. You can think of me as your future self. Yes, yourself in 10, 20, even 30 years from now, sitting on the rocking chair, watching you, knowing who you really are, and guiding you. So while you get in touch to that older, wiser version of you, get comfortable while thinking about the things that you love to do. Yes, the things that you so much enjoy doing. What are they? It can be in any area of your life. Maybe these are things that you enjoy doing with friends, with family, maybe at work, maybe work on your projects, whatever projects there might be. What is it about? Maybe it involves sports, exercise, moving around. What is it? Is it about other people? Is it a social activity? Is it about communication with other people? What is it that you like to do that when you do it, and then you check the clock, and then 8 hours just flew by? What is it? Maybe you create something. Maybe it is about art. What would you try to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? What would you try to do if you don't think about failure? What would you try to attempt if you put that fear of failure aside? Think about all the possibilities. Let your imagination loose like a child. So many possibilities, isn't it? Isn't it fun? Enjoy that imaginary journey through all your options. Think about how many possibilities you can come up with for things that you love to do when you put that fear of failure to the side. Isn't it exciting how many possibilities you have when you are not overwhelmed and bothered with the fear of failure? Would you want to get that sense of adventure or even sense of completeness? Being true to yourself, going for the things that you love, not worrying about failure, not failure, failing, not failing. Wouldn't that be great? So maybe we'll get a better perspective, a wider perspective on failure. What is failure? So let's say you try something. If it works, you can call it success. If it doesn't, you might call it a failure. But let's say you tried that thing. It didn't work. Can you learn something about that? Maybe that's the case. So if you learn something about that, you can try again, right? You have the time. It is not the end of your life. You have the time. You have the perspective. Remember, I'm that part of you 10, 20, 30 years from now. I'm that part of you that reminds you you have the time. And in this case, when things don't go your way, you can call it a failure and stop trying. But you can say to yourself, you can remind yourself that you have the time, so you can try again. So you can redefine failure with a wider perspective as trying again. So you try, it didn't work. You can learn, you can adjust, and then you can try again. Maybe this is a good perspective on failure, a wider perspective on failure. Just keep experimenting. You do the experiment, you get the results, you adjust, and then you do another experiment. Maybe that's an empowering perspective to look at failure. And let's say you adopt this perspective. Imagine the freedom that you can get adopting this perspective, looking at failure as just trying again, as part of the journey. Then you can go do what you love to do without worrying about failure. Because for you, it's just a journey, doing the things that you love. Already feeling this sense of completeness. Yes, being true to yourself, doing what you love, regardless if it works the first time or not. Because you know, it is part of the journey. Isn't it powerful? Doesn't it get you that sense of completeness, knowing you're true to yourself, doing what you love? Well, if you have other things that you want to get that sense of completeness, maybe future decisions or any challenges you might have in your life that you want to get that sense of completeness, talking with your future self. Yes, me, your future self. Yourself in 10, 20, 30 years from now. Share these challenges in the comments below so we can talk about that in these relaxed conversations and get a wider perspective on whatever you want in your life. In the future episodes, of course, of Silver's Perspective, the place where we ask ourselves empowering questions to get a wider perspective on anything in life. Let's meet in the next episode.